Hey guys, welcome back to Bonsai Crazy. Got a treat for you today. I've been watching Tony from Tony's Bonsai, and he recently did Literati style bonsai, and I never used to like Literati, but over the sort of couple of years, 2-3 sort of years, I've been looking at them and I've started to warm to them a bit. Now they are, mostly long and dangly and all that kind of stuff. But the ones with a little bit of taper are quite nice. The thicker ones definitely are very nice. So I've got this Japanese larch that's one of my other ones, and I'm going to give it a go. I'm gonna do a Tony wire day, a Tony twist day. So I haven't got any vet tape like Tony has, but I do have like a bandage type thing going on that I've stolen from the cupboard. The missus is gonna go crazy, so I'm gonna have to make sure I get some from the pharmacist. But hey ho. So what I'm gonna do is going to select these branches and make a little Literati style bonsai. I've got this pot that it can go in for now, which is nice and round and deep. So I think it should do well. I do have a few buds popping out here and there, which is great. It's just starting to pop out. So I do want to show you this quickly. Right, I brought it down the bottom of the tree just to have a look at the tree trunk. Now, the tree trunk, as you can see, has got little wispy bark, flaky thing going on. Down the bottom, it's becoming like more of a mature trunk. And as you come up slightly, you can see all these speckly little things going on. As you come up, you can see that those speckly things gradually become a lot bigger. As you slowly go up, they become more and more, and then they become more like stripes, big long stripes. And it comes up and it's completely changed. And this is what grew last year from that bud there, right in the middle, upwards. That is what grew last year. So in terms of growth in a year, larch are the best. And in terms of root, they grow the most root as well. They're also very resistant to disease. Any kind of disease that larches normally suffer from, like the European larch will suffer from different types of diseases and insects and stuff. The Japanese larch don't tend to suffer from any disease the same way the European and the British ones do. So in terms of bonsai species, it's a very good one for a beginner to go for, because it grows fast, so your interest is there. It's very easy to manipulate. It is very bendy for you, so in terms of wiring experience, it's quite good until you get to the branches. The branches are then become very fiddly, and I've learnt that I like to do the fine wiring of the branches in the winter when it's completely dormant, and in that way you're not going to destroy any buds. So that all being said, we're going to get on with this Literati today, and like I said, I've spoken about the Tony thing. I'm going to completely take out the roots, get rid of the soil, and then we're going to slowly go up and choose these branches. Now pretty much all of them are going to go, apart from 3, 4 or 5 maybe. And I'm doing that for a reason, and I'll tell you that reason in a little while. So basically, let's just get on with it. Right, so if I take this out, so take this out, and we get our little chopstick, and we start to get our roots out. Now we want to keep as much roots as possible. If you shake it, you don't have to get rid of a lot. It just all sort of falls out. I only planted this up last year, like the other one, so it should be pretty much the same as the last one I just showed you. But I've said this before, but I don't like wiring, and this is a good practice. If you don't like wiring, a literati is a good way of practicing your wiring skills, because basically you're going to take all these branches off, and then you can just concentrate on the main trunk, and the main trunk is what you work on, and then you get to the other bits later on, you know. So you're giving yourself a little bit of practice, and then you can come back to it next year or in the winter time, and really take your time over it and get it all right. And I don't know why that's just fallen out there. I'm actually I think I'm gonna put a lot more perlite in this mix for this one. Alright, so there we go. Now, just going to get a little toothbrush and start digging away the soil from around this nabari. That's another thing about larches. They tend to want to like clump up like this around the bottom, which can make for nice root over rock. But we're not going to do that in this case. Well, I suppose we could do a root over rock. Literati, that might be something. But they're very thick at the moment, so to prize them apart would be another mission, and I want it to survive. So now, that's enough root work. I'm not going to do any more on that. So those of you that don't know, perlite you can get in Sainsbury's from one of these bags, and they're £10 and it's 20 litres. So not bad. Right, so now I mix that up. That's fine for later on. Back to the tree. So we've cleaned our little roots out and we're ready. So now, branch selection. Now obviously we're not going to keep the big branches, because the big branches are just going to cause big calluses on the tree, but I do want to keep some feeder roots. I don't want the trunk to be thick, the same thickness all the way around. So I'm going to leave on a couple of these really thinner branches along the trunk, and they'll become feeder roots, and they'll feed the trunk, so these parts of the trunk get thicker at the same time as the top gets thicker. That way I'm going to have a little bit of taper in the tanuki, which is what you need. So let's get rid of all these big branches, and like I said to you before, I will come back to this, and with my proper snips, or indented snips, I can't remember what they're called, but I'm going to get myself some this year, and then it will look a lot better. And in a second, we're going to come along and we're going to heal all the wounds. Right, so we get to now. So this, we just want 2 or 3 here. We don't want these 2 here as well. So I'm going to get rid of those 2 as well. Now it looks a bit noduly, but like I say, once I come back in there with proper snips next year, or in the winter time, we'll come back in there and we'll get these all sorted out, so it's nice. So we get to here, and there's another little branch, couple of little small branches there. So we're going to keep these little small branches, and then we want to start thinking about what we're going to keep up the top. So I'm just thinking about the branches now. That one's quite nice because it's got a lot of ramification going on there already, and so is this one, but it's a lot bigger. That one's also got a lot of ramification, and that one, but they're a lot thicker. But I might keep one as a feeder. So I'm not going to chop them all off. I think I'm going to keep the smaller one. And we'll go for that one there. And we'll just get rid of this bigger one here. Now we also have another one coming out towards us. But then we start to get the singles again. Now when you get up to the top here, you're going to have done your bends before you start selecting these branches, because once you've done your bends, they might end up in a completely different place. So I'm going to stop there, and then we're going to wrap it in what is not vet tape, it's called bandage tape, because that's all I have. So I'm going to roughly get what I think I'm gonna need to get up to about here, and then we can always put another piece on later on, because I don't want to stop any of these buds up the top here. So if I get to about there, get rid of these branches and get them in my way. Right, so with this one, what I can do is like Tony does at the end, I can split it down in two, come around the trunk, I can split it in two, come around the trunk and tie it off at the bottom. Hopefully that will give us a little bit of purchase when we wire as well. I'm just going to roll this all up roughly. And we're off. We're going to start wrapping around the trunk, pulling a little bit tight. We're going to skip this lot and come up to there. There we go. One more around there, I think. I don't know whether I actually need to do this with larch because they are quite bendy, but Tony seems to do it, and it's a bit like using raffia, and you're supposed to do this really. I suppose it will help with stopping the wire digging in, I think. So with larches, because they grow fast, you do end up with wire scarring, and that you don't really want. So do I go up? As that's just going to be, it may be a feeder one, or it may be a main branch. So let's go round there once more and then up like so. As you can see, there's a little bit of a, don't want that little sapling coming out there. Now, I know I'm nowhere as good as Tony, and I haven't got proper vet tape, but this is not looking too sad. If I can get it to roll out properly, it'll look a little bit better. There we go. Right, and I think I'm going to stop there with it. Like I say, I don't want to go too much further. So, or should I go once or twice more? Let's go once or twice more. Because we can come up over in that angle, up through, up past that one. Because these mainly are going to be feeders, I think. So there we go. Right, I can cut that and then come back up, make a little cut. And then tie it off. And I'll give that a little snip, make it look a little bit neater. Now I do realise it's not vet tape, but it doesn't look too sad. And it is going to be a literati, so all of these branches up here are not really, they're only helping to feed the trunk. So now, next we're going to put the wire on. Alright guys, so I've got you in a little bit closer there. I don't know whether this is actually going to work because I've never used this wire before. I've got 4mm wire, 4mm gauge wire. It's aluminum from a bonsai shop. I think this is the stuff that Tony was been telling everyone about. I'm not sure, not entirely sure, but it doesn't seem to be that strong. It's for 4mm wire. My 3mm wire seems to be a bit stronger, but what we need to do is we need to get ourselves a little purchase down here. So what I'm going to do is just bend it under the roots like so, and up and around for our first one, like that. Okay. Now I'm hoping that this wire is going to be able to bend this. I'm just going to get that around there like that, around these feeder branches. So you see what I mean by it can be very difficult for beginners, because you tend to want to put your hands where all the branches are, but you can't do that, you know. You've got to keep your hands well away from what you're going to want to use, and that's the difficult part, I find. So we're just coming around. Like so. See, my fingers wanna go there, and they shouldn't be going there. They should be going somewhere else. There we go. Actually, to work with, I find this wire quite nice. It's a lot different from your regular gardening wire. Your gardening wire tends to be quite hard to get around. I'll put you somewhere where you can see. We're getting to the top here now. And we still want to go around the top. We just don't want to go around it as tight. So I'm going to put my thumb there just to stop it gripping so much. Also got to watch out for the buds around there. And I think that's doing all right. So I'm just going to bring that to a stop there, and I'm going to just cut that there. Get me cutters. I'm just going to cut that there. And there we go. That's all wired up. Hey, I did it, Tony. I did it, I did it, I did it. Right, so I think the next stage, I think we should put this in a pot securely. And then we're going to figure out, how we're going to bend this and make it look nice. So let's get on with that. All right. Wire. So that's going to help. Got the pot in there. Now what I'm going to do, you remember that little bit of wire that I had? I'm going to pull that back out. I'm going to put that like that now in the pot. Actually, I might bend it over once more like so. Make a little loop. Like that. Alright? And then pull it down. Make sure it's nice and tight, as it should be. I hope you can see that. So I made a little loop in it. I'm going to get my wire. Thread it through that one. Thread that one through there like so. Sorry, I was just trying not to ruin any more roots. And now we can start twisting. Our wire in and holding it down. I'm going to snip that. Snip that. Be careful with your roots. Just tie that in. we can push that down like so. Hopefully you can all see that. Spread your roots out. Yeah, so we've got a decent tie there, and that's not really going to fall out. Once all the soil's in there, we've got a really decent little tie. And let's get some soil into the pot now. Right guys, so we've got our repotting done and we've wired it in and it's all secure. I'm just hoping now that the wire is strong enough to keep the bends in place. So now we're going to bend it. Yay! Bending skills time. Have I got the skills? Haven't I got the skills? Let's ask the question. Right, so from my point of view, this is the front. Well, that's the front there. So your point of view, that's the front there. All right, it's already got a nice curve coming back. So I just want to accentuate that at the bottom if I can a bit. Like that. So it's a bit more over. And then I think I want it coming this way, like that. So let's try and bend this over here, like that. Now, that wire's not strong enough, is it, to hold that in place. It's going to pop back up. So what I could do here, well, it's staying a bit. It's staying some. I don't want extreme bends, so it's staying some. So let's take that from there now and we'll try and bend that like that. Now that's going that way. Try and bring it that way. we're gonna bring that way without destroying any buds, and then we can wire this separately. Wow. Wow, I don't think that looks too bad, you know. Wire's staying enough. I can always do with a bit more, but it's staying enough. That's not bad, you know. Right, but branch selection. Right, we kept these in here to be feeders, yeah? That could be quite a nice branch in the future. This one there. So I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to keep that one there. I might as well trim this little baby one off. Yes, I don't think that is looking too bad. Now, branch selection. We're going to keep this little one here as a feeder. Keep that one as a feeder. I might as well take that one away. That's not going to do anything. I've got 2 feeders down there. I'm going to keep that one as well. I decided I like that branch there, so I could possibly do something with that in the future. It's got ramification, so I'm gonna trim it back to 3 buds on each. Like so. This one here is in quite a nice position. So I'm going to keep that one there. And I'm also going to keep the one just the opposite side of it here. Because that could fill the back. This one here is just pointed upwards and is no good whatsoever. So we're just going to get rid of that one there like so. That one there I'll keep for now as another feeder. This one here can go. And I'm going to keep that as a feeder. That can feed all of this. And we're going to keep this top for now. We'll worry about bending the top into place in the future, in December. I could get rid of this one here. Like that. And this one at the back. So we've got a branch we might use in the future, branch we might use in the future, and there. We've got that as a feeder, that as a feeder, that as a feeder, that as a possible keep, and the rest are from down are all feeder roots. So I don't think that's bad for my first Literati tree, you know. It's got some real shape to it. It's got some real nice curves to it. We can get some real curves going up later on. If we choose to keep this one, we could bring it up further and then come out. So we've got a lot of options there. I think for my first one, you know, I don't think that's too bad. So I don't know what you guys think. Please tell me in the description box. But I'm quite pleased with that. That's not bad. It's like 53 mile-an-hour winds out there today, so it's going to stay indoors today because, you know, I don't want this bouncing back up. And I'll keep an eye on it throughout the year. And if I have to put another little wire just down this bottom bit here to keep it in place, then I will. But from sort of there upwards, it seems fine. If I'd used 6mm wire, it would have been brilliant. So that black aluminium bonsai wire, that's 4 gauge and 6 gauge stuff. Well, 4 gauge this is. It's really quite good. I quite like that. It stayed where I wanted it to stay. It's not like the silver stuff, the garden stuff. It's really kind of difficult to use, you know. But I found that quite easy, that. So, yeah, you guys tell me what you think in the description box. My first Literati. I'll see you later, guys. Ta-da.
I just bought a new whip, spent a couple thousand just to cruise it. Shawty said she love me, but I swear she'll never prove it. I never tell her, but I put it in the music. Well, that's okay. All I wanna do is make the best of my whole day. Thank the Lord up above.